I want to share with you guys a build I recently discovered. Now, it has been in the game for quite a while now, but Sniper is my least played class in Space Marine 2, and solely because I'm terrible at aiming. I really can't get headshots off. So this is why I really gravitate a lot to this build, because it's very forgiving if you don't land every headshot. If you are checking out the gameplay and you're curious of what kind of build I'm running, I will do a quick little rundown exactly why I picked the perks that I choose. Especially want to highlight some things like the team perk here. We are picking up squad renewal. A headshot kill restores ability charge by 10% for any squad member. So kind of keep this in mind. If you really need the armor, go for the execute. But, you really want to get that headshot kill if you possibly can, so you can keep your ability up as much as you can. And for our second row here, we're going to pick up renewal. A headshot kill restores camo cloaks charge by 15%. This is absolutely nasty with squad renewal. This can give you so much uptime on your ability. Now, if you aren't as confident as you think you are and you want something a little bit safer, you can't pick up purification. And for our next row, targeted shot. The first range attack that breaks camo cloak deals 75% more damage. So, keep that in mind when you go cloak and you take your first shot. Really try to go for the headshot here. It's pretty easy on this build since you are going to be up close and personal, doing a lot of barrel stuffing. For our next row, lingering concealment. After performing an attack that breaks camo cloak, you remain hidden for 2 seconds. Oh my god, this absolutely slaps with these last 3 perks here. You're really able, it's a very safe build. I can tell you that. It's very safe, especially in solo. Whenever you cloak in solo, you de-aggro everything. Most things stay still. Enemies cancel their animations. And pattern of excellence. If you end up finding a melt-a-bomb, this is just disgusting. Every 30 seconds, this is so strong. It's like secure stockpile on crack, but you just need 3 consecutive headshots. It is super easy with the bolt carbine to pull this off. I highly recommend it if you really want to clear waves very easily with this. And let's quickly go over the prestige perks. Emperor's Grace is going to be our first one. Pairs very well with lingering concealment. You're able to put out a lot of damage safely. You're able to tank hits and just not take anything at all. Amazing perk. And for our second one, exacting focus. After a gun strike, you deal 20% more range damage for 10 seconds. Now, 20% more range damage is absolutely disgusting on the bolt carbine. I really recommend it. You are going to be performing a lot of gun strikes. You're able to combine that with your cloak and just pull out so much damage. And versatility. After switching weapons, your secondary weapon does 20% more damage. The effects last until reloading or switching back to your primary weapon. Now, I am running the heroic heavy bolt pistol with this build. You can really roll with any secondary, but I've seen that in a lot of my solo games that reinforcement calls are very common. It almost happens in almost every engagement, and this just takes care of that. I'm not really relying too much on our secondary to do damage. That's only for reinforcement calls. But you can run Infernal Pistol. That's also really good if you have trouble with Minoris. And for our last prestige perk, Versatile Precision. This pairs very well with the bolt carbine. You are able to really keep up your ammo. You don't even have to pick up ammo boxes. Just make sure you get kills with your secondary. It can be any kind of kill. It could be on a Minoris, a Majoris. It's just easier on Minoris though. I mean, the bolt carbine is already very ammo efficient, and this takes it through the roof. I highly recommend it. And for a weapon, we are going to be running the bolt carbine for our primary, ammo variation in relic tier. And this is our perk tree. Really going more for the headshots, making sure to barrel stuff the enemy. And let's take a look at that skin. That is such a nice skin, pairs really well with my Raptor. We got the Death World Forest Bolt Carbine. Can only get that in Siege, keep that in mind. And for our secondary, we are running the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol, mostly because of the utility. Not really looking for the damage on it. For Sniper, you can really run with any secondary. I think Infernal Pistol is pretty good too. If you have a lot of trouble with, minors piling up, that's a really good option for that. We also have this one in the same green color. We got a kind of a raptor thing going on. And for our melee weapon, we are going to be running the amazing Argent's Edge. Absolutely goated weapon. One of my favorite melee weapons. It is very safe. I like to call it the combo breaker because it breaks any combo. I mean, it's absolutely cracked out, especially on this build with, you're able to get that parry off in that gun strike, and that gun strike ends up getting you that 20% more range damage. So, I mean, it is absolutely a match made in heaven for this build. Now, you can run Power Gladius, but we really haven't built into melee damage. So I do think Argent's Edge pairs a little bit better with this build. If you know me, I like to play with other players most of the time in Space Marine 2. And, as of late, I really don't run into many snipers, especially considering the meta right now with all the ranged enemies running about, just creating havoc. Because I like to play Assault, and if I get into a game where it's 2 melee classes and we get a sniper, that really is a match made in heaven. That's always really appreciated. I do wish I could run into more snipers, because you can tell when a sniper is very good or very bad. Especially if they're running the heroic bolt rifle, they'll leave kills for their teammates, executes, make sure everyone gets their armor. I really like Sniper. Not my most favorite class to play, but, I can see the appeal. You can put out a lot of damage. I've seen really cracked out players just go to town on the heroic bolt rifle. It's always appreciated when you see that in a game, because, I mean, you don't even get a chance to really fight Majoris if you have that kind of sniper on your team. I also wanted to add that you could also run the Combi Flamer on the Sniper. I do think it is a little better on Sniper because of the ammo regen. It's not like Vanguard where, it is very hungry on Vanguard, and you will feel it, and it doesn't feel that great, and that's where, the weapon kind of falls short there. Also, the underbarrel, the flamer part of that weapon, it does need more ammo, and it does need at least a damage buff. I was hoping that they would launch a hotfix this week, but I'm seeing is that I don't think we're gonna get one until maybe next week. Hopefully, I haven't seen any confirmations of a hotfix coming. I know patch 15 is in the works, and that's gonna be a huge patch. That's gonna be the anniversary patch. And we've been seeing leaks of the champion skin. We've seen leaks of the executions for the Ultramarines. Whenever you play as Chaos, we've seen a few of those. Those look pretty sick. Seen a leak on the one-handed Thunderhammer. It was actually a whole animation. I don't know if you guys have checked that out. I think it's pretty neat. Probably gonna go to the new class, but I think it's gonna, end up coming to Bulwark into Assault. So, can't wait to get my hands on that. It does seem like Saber is running a little behind here. I can, you can really feel it because of how many bugs are in the game right now. Like, I just saw that assault bug actually with that infinite ground pound. You just like you have to do like an animation cancel, like a parry animation cancel while you're ground pounding, and it never takes up a charge. That looks absolutely broken. I haven't partaken. I don't really like to partake in such bugs like that. Let's talk about the Bone Sword Warriors and how 90% of the time that they keep their swords up. It is ridiculous how much damage they can block if they have their bone swords up. You know, it wasn't too bad with this run because of block break, but you know, imagine on a class that doesn't have block break. You know, that feels incredibly bad. Like they can block so much damage. Like they can block plasmas. You know, they can block headshots. They can block. Oh, this is a really bad one on Tech Marine, on my sniper Tech Marine. Man, you know, if I try to use my servo gun while they have their bone swords up, I mean, they block all of the damage. It is ridiculous. My overall thoughts about this sniper build. Sniper is pretty busted in solo, if you know we're gonna be honest, even though I really don't play sniper all that often, but he is so much stronger in solo play because of his ability is a little bit different in solo compared to, you know, playing with bots or playing with other players. It's very broken. I mean, you can really run with any primary, especially the heroic bolt rifle against Tyranids. It's game over for the Tyranids. He's very safe to play, especially if you're running Purification. I mean, you always gain that contested health back. If you really want to dip your toes in the true absolute runs, I would recommend starting with Sniper. You know, really get a feel for it. I say that this is a really safe build, but you know, when I was doing this run, I did end up going down a little bit towards the end. I was playing kind of sloppy at the end. I wasn't really paying attention as much. I ended up getting destroyed by Raveners. So always stay on your toes, Astartes. Don't ever slack.
Line ready. Fester and rot. Xenos abomination. Emilio line engaged. Stealth ready. Emilio line cloak ready. Their numbers are trading. Melter bomb prepped and ready. Active camouflage charged. Rearming. Tyranids have no vibrant tactics. Readying next volley. Emilio line cloak activated. Stealth ready. Synaptic servants slaughtered. They shall not. Reloading. cloak ready. Chameleon.
Link your armor to the Mechanicus device. You will need to keep close proximity to the charging station until the reset is complete.
Unseen ice light up. Stealth ready. Readying next volley. They shall unseen. If a prayer will reignite the charge, then prayers offered. Restored. Watch out for Ravener tunnel. If a prayer will reignite the charge, then prayers offered. Chameleoline engaged. Chameleoline cloak ready. Fester and rot. Seal.
Deploy immediately.
On it. Bomb is away.